All right. Hello, everyone. Can everyone see me in the chat? Let me know. We are excited to be coming here with y'all tonight to talk about a big event that we have coming up. So let us know where you're joining us. Talk to us in the chat. We do have some ground rules for the chat. We are heavy-handed with the ban hammer. So if you are being abusive in the chat, if you are abusing the chat itself to spam other people, to spam the chat itself, we will delete your comments and you will be banned from the chat. Be nice to each other. Give each other space to participate in the conversation because the chat is for everyone. So again, thank you for joining us. Make sure you're letting us know where you're coming from in the chat. We're really excited to have you all joining us tonight. We're going to give people a few minutes to filter in. So let's see where everyone is coming from. Big Bear Lake, California. Hi, Karen. All right, really excited to see people from close to me. I'm here in Southern California, and we're excited to be joined by people all across the country. We have Cohoes, New York, and from New Jersey. Have some New Hampshire. Now tonight we're going to be focusing a lot on our action in New York itself. If you're not in the New York area, if you're not in the tri-state region, that's okay too, because we'll have a lot for all of you to do across the country. All right, we have Lakeland, Florida, and we have Missouri. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, we do have some rules for the road, so I'm going to add those to a banner here. We do have working agreements. Just generally speaking, be kind to each other. Give each other some grace. We may cover some controversial topics in the chat. So make sure that you are assuming best intent from each other. We're going to give it just a few more minutes as everybody starts to filter in, but we're really excited to have you all with us. All right. Now, if someone in the chat, all right, I'm seeing some people saying that they can't see me. Let's try this again. All right. Am I still here? Looks like I'm here now. All right. Happy to be back on screen. So keep telling us where you're joining us from tonight. And tell us where you think you're going to be on September 20th. Big hint? We hope it's New York. But if you are a little far from New York, that's okay. We'll tell you what to do from where you are. All right. We have Oregon, beautiful. A lot of New York, Houston, excellent. Hot time of year. Make sure you're staying cool and hydrated. All right. New Mexico is sending 30 delegates to New York City. That is incredible. We are so excited that you'll be joining us in New York. All right. Excellent. Now we are live streaming on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So you may not see the same comments in your feed that we're seeing, but we're going to read out to you as we go occasionally. We are inviting questions tonight, so make sure you're dropping them in the chat. Keep in mind, we may not stop to answer your questions right there in the moment, but rest assured, we are going to try to answer as many of your questions as possible at the end of the session. So stay tuned, stick with us. We'll get your questions answered. Additionally, if you need closed captioning, make sure you join us on Facebook. Facebook is going to have closed captioning on live streaming videos. YouTube hasn't caught up yet. So Facebook has you covered if you would like captions. All right, let's see who we have. We have Erie, Pennsylvania. Thanks for coming out. Dallas. Excellent. Davenport, Iowa. Nottingham, New Hampshire. Excellent, excellent. We're really excited to have all of you tonight to talk about this really exciting action. So finally, we get to introduce it. Welcome to the Make Billionaires Pay March mass call. I'm going to run through a few quick logistical notes and the agenda itself, and then we'll dive in. So, again, join us on Facebook if you would like to watch with closed captioning. If you have questions, make sure to ask them in the chat. We'll come back to them at the end. And additionally, any links and resources that we discuss throughout the event, we'll show them on banners, but also we'll be sending an email out to everybody who pre-registered so that you'll be able to come back to those resources as well. Now, in a moment, we're going to do a quick overview of the Make Billionaires Pay March so everyone can get caught up on what we've planned thus far. Afterwards, we're going to hear from a few leaders about why we're marching and ground ourselves in the stakes of this moment. Then we're going to get some more detailed updates about the march in New York, and we'll talk about how to get plugged in, as well as answer your questions with our Q&A at the end. So, all that being said, we're excited to have you all, and I'm going to pass it on to Griffin.
Hey folks, thank you so much for joining. Really glad everyone can be here tonight. I'm just going to give a quick overview and some context for what the Make Billionaires Pay March is for those of you who are just getting looped in. So on September 20th, we are calling for a mass mobilization of people in New York and around the country to make billionaires pay. Billionaires are the villains of our time, y'all. They are propping up fascist leaders, they're profiting off war and genocide, and they're destroying our planet. And the rest of us are out here just trying to make rent. We're bracing for climate disasters. We're fearing who ICE is going to come and take from our communities. But we're also fighting back. And this year, millions of people have mobilized to fight back against ICE, to fight fascism, to fight against the billionaires and against polluters and defend our communities. And we need to keep that pressure up. We have seen these incredible marches with thousands and thousands of people happening, and they need to keep happening at an ever-increasing frequency with ever-increasing numbers. And our hope is that this September we'll have a chance to be a part of this growing resistance against Trump and the billionaires. We have a critical opportunity this September, in particular, to show that we are in revolt against Trump and the billionaires, because in September, world leaders from all over the globe gather in New York City for the UN General Assembly and UN Climate Week. So that is why we're calling on people to get into the streets on September 20th in New York and join us and join the nonviolent resistance against billionaires. So the key demands of this march are to shut down billionaires and fund our futures, to shut down fascists and protect migrants and the global majority, and to shut down polluters and defend Mother Earth. And we're going to hear from an incredible leader, Sarah E., who has been working on immigration for over 10 years and assisting people who have been detained and their families. So I'm going to pass over to Sarah E. to really help us get grounded in why we are marching and what's at stake in this political moment.
Hi, thank you, Griffin. My name is Sarai Garcia. I'm from the Houston area over here in Texas, where it's basically ground zero for everything that's going on. I've been doing immigration work and climate justice work for over 10 years now. And right now, it's so hard to put into words the experiences that people have had or that I've had myself. Since I was a child, we've had this boogeyman. It was called the migra first, and now it's ICE. I've dealt with this my whole life. My parents were undocumented when they got here, and they were only able to get their residency through the amnesty program that Ronald Reagan passed. So our family lived in the shadows for a long time, so I draw from that experience. But now with all these mass deportations that are going on, we have to understand that all of this is a money making scheme. First of all, when someone is detained, when they're picked up, right, they're going to a detention center. um, One of the things that when they're in that detention center, they don't have access to a lot of things like hygiene items, or they don't have access to make phone calls. a lot of times when they're in there, they have to work to be able to get money for their commissary. So in an 8-hour shift yields $1 right now. That's how much they're getting paid, $1 for an 8-hour shift at work. So this is being used as slave labor as well. So we got to understand that each body that's in there, they're profiting off of each body. So just last year, in the year 2024, for immigration detention, an estimated $3.43 billion. That's how much money the U.S. government spent on these detention centers. Um, Main one, Core Civic, and then Geo Group. They're making money hand over fist. So one of the ways they make money is through the commissary and through these phone calls, and also through these flights that they're taking. So a flight for an hour, they're charging almost 9,000 up to $28,500 per flight. So a lot of these people get detained and they get shipped all over the United States, from facility to facility. Each one of those times that they get shipped, that cost us money, that cost the taxpayer money. So it's an outrageous amount of money, and they're basically profiting off of these systems. And I'm here to say that I'm tired of seeing my people being used and exploited to make these billionaires more money. And I want to encourage everyone to raise their voice, be the voice for the voiceless, because most of these folks that are in this situation don't have anyone to speak up for them. So we need more people to be speaking up for them, and we need to put a stop to these mass detentions. And because it's only a profit making scheme. They're only making money off of our people, and frankly, I'm tired of it. And I hope that you can all join us and make your voices be heard about how this is so evil and so wrong, and how this practice of making money off of brown bodies needs to stop. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Taylor.
Thank you so much, Sari, for that grounding in why we are taking action on September 20th. My name's Taylor. I'm an organizer with 350.org. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the logistics for 920 in New York. And I just want to share up front that this is all very much still, things are moving very quickly. Things change every day. We are still in negotiations with police, with permits. So I'm going to share the general overview of what things are going to look like, but ask that you don't get too stuck on any particular detail, because there will be changes between now and then. So just wanted to say that up front, and I will probably repeat that. So since we are calling out billionaires for polluting and terrorizing our communities, we will be marching by key locations to call them out directly. So the march has 3 main targets: Billionaires Row, where many billionaires in New York City live; banks and financial institutions that are bankrolling the climate crisis, mass surveillance, weapons, and deportations; and then Trump Tower and Trump Hotel, for obvious reasons. So we will start on Park Avenue and then head west on 57th Street to hit these targets. And as we pass by the targets, you're going to get to learn a little bit more about each of their roles in fueling these crises, as well as ways to take action in support of the frontline communities that are fighting back against them. So like I said, the specific meetup locations and the lineup details, they're all still being finalized, as is the plan for the end of the march. So we will share more specific logistical details as the march gets closer. So that's why if you haven't signed up yet on the Make Billionaires Pay website, we really encourage you to do that so that you get our updates as things are more firmed up, and as things likely will change. So you get those updates as the changes happen. And if you are organizing, if you're part of an organization or are organizing a contingent, please let us know so that we can account for folks in the lineup as the team negotiates with the police. So that's really helpful to let us know. Okay, and then on buses, I know this is another big question that folks have. So we are working with Rally Bus to line up buses into New York City on September 20th. As currently envisioned, again, things might change. The bus drop-offs will be on 3rd Avenue between 46th and 50th Streets. But again, this is subject to change. And so we have, Rally has like a link, which we can drop in the chat. Hopefully someone has that, where you can click to see if there's already a bus leaving from your location. There are 10 buses lined up already. And so you can go ahead and book your tickets now on those existing buses. And yeah, we will also be sending out all the links afterwards. And then if there are no buses leaving from your location yet, you will have 2 options. So if you can recruit people to fill up a bus, then you can add a bus pickup location on the Rally website. It's called adding a Rally point. And then you can recruit people to fill it up. And the bus needs 30 people to operate. So if you can recruit 30 people, then the bus will run. If it doesn't end up getting filled up, then that route might get consolidated into a different route. Or that route will get canceled. But we would love for more buses. So if you have the capacity to recruit at least 30 people and there isn't a bus already near you, please add one. Another option, if there isn't already a bus coming from your location, is that you can, if it's just you and a few people, you can book a ticket through Our Bus Routes. That's what it's called. The website. And these are just like daily regular bus routes from select locations. And we have discount codes available for you. So we have a 10% discount code for individuals and then a 25% discount code if you book 2 or more people on the same reservation. So those are the different ways to get into New York through buses. And that is the link that's on the page right now, rally.co/make-billionaires-pay-NYC. So yeah, those are some of the logistical details we have as of now. And I am going to pass it over to Khalil with Rising Majority.
Thank you so much. Hey, beloveds. I'm Khalil, and I'm the National Co-Director of the Rising Majority. Rising Majority is a cross-sectoral, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, multiracial formation, and we are endorsing this mobilization because billionaires are robbing us of the future we deserve. And we see the impact the billionaire class has had on our communities. We see authoritarianism taking root in Washington, D.C. as the National Guard troops are deployed, not to help us recover from storms or rebuild schools, but to control and intimidate. That is the logic of fascism. When the rich feel threatened, they send soldiers instead of solutions. They want us too afraid to dream and too afraid to fight. And that's why we must be clear about what we are fighting. Fossil fuel billionaires bankroll politicians who deny the storms and the floods, who criminalize protest, who kidnap and cage migrants and silence dissent, all while advancing a genocide. Every disaster becomes their excuse for more repression, more violence in service of protecting their wealth. And yet here we are, Black and brown folk, workers, students, parents, elders, young folk, siblings, whose ancestors have faced down slave ships, colonial armies, and dictators. Our ancestors did not hand us fear. They handed us courage, and they handed us each other. So the Rising Majority is throwing down because our politics and our vision order our steps. We know the same system that lets billionaires steal our wealth is the same system that wages war abroad, poisons our communities at home, and tells us there is no alternative. We must refuse that lie. We are here because we believe in a world where life comes before profit, where how we care for one another is the measure of power, and where ordinary people decide our future. So we all must say to the billionaires when we rock to New York and their politicians, you do not own this earth. You do not own our labor, and you will not own our future. The truth is actually simple. When the majority moves as one, the few cannot rule. So see you in the streets, beloveds. I'm going to pass it back to Griffin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Khalil. That was really powerful. I'm so glad you were able to join us tonight and speak. So I'm going to go over how to actually get plugged into this, which right now is going to mean sending you a bunch of links. The first link that we're going to put up on the screen is a link to sign up to march with us in New York. Taylor went over some of the logistics. It would be amazing if as many people as possible could get themselves to the streets of New York on September 20th and march down Billionaires Row with us, and march past these Trump buildings with us, and be in revolt together and in community. The second link we're going to share is a sign up to volunteer in New York. If we are going to need a ton of marshals to keep people safe, we're going to need a ton of people to help people find their way, to make sure that folks are getting plugged in and that the march is moving along effectively and smoothly. If you're interested in stepping up your leadership a little bit, maybe you've been to a couple of these marches before and now you want to take on a role at one of these marches, this is a great opportunity to sign up, and we'll have volunteer trainings to get you plugged in and get you everything you need to know before you actually set out into the streets of New York. And then lastly, if you're like, I can't swing New York, I just can't make it over there, we would love if you could set up a march in your community. One of the things that has made so many of these big days of actions that have happened over the course of this year so powerful is how many different communities these actions are taking place in. So check out our map on our website on makebillionairespay.org. And if you don't see something near you, sign up and host your own. And we have resources to help you figure out exactly how to do that and make sure that your march can be a success. Oh, thank you. Makebillionairespay.us. Make Billionaires Pay Us. I should remember that one. And then lastly, if you are interested in getting involved, please send us a message. Let us know, particularly folks who are working at an organization that might want to endorse or sponsor. We have 150 endorsing organizations for this march so far, and we have a ton of tools for those organizations to support this march. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, check out our website, sign up to endorse, and we'll send some tools over your way. We really need all of y'all to be organizers to make this march successful, not to just show up, but to organize your friends to come, to organize your colleagues, to talk about it with your family, to really make it the success that we need it to be, to fight back against the billionaires and to fight back against fascism. So we are going to give y'all a few minutes to get plugged in, to go to those links, to check out the website, to sign up on all the forums. We'll be watching on the back end to see those numbers climb. So please take a moment to do that now. And while you are doing that, Risa is going to bring up some questions from the chat, and we're going to do a little Q&A. So if you have questions or how to get plugged in, now is the time to drop them in the chat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Griffin and Taylor and Sarai and Khalil, who had to hop off, but we're so grateful you all could share all this very important information with us and give us ways to get plugged in. So now that we've gone through the presentation, we have a question that I think has been answered, but the first question was, how can we best raise our voice? Would anyone like to take that one? I mean, I think we've gotten, pretty clear. We're going to be rallying together. We're going to be demonstrating in the streets. So that is one way that you can raise your voice. If you go ahead.
And I will double down. It's not just showing up. It's being an organizer. It's bringing people with you and organizing your community, right? I assume a lot of the people on this call who are tuning in, they've done a march before. Y'all have turned out when people needed you, and you've gone to the streets. And now it's time to level up. And this is how movements grow and expand. It's from the people who go, they do the march, and then they go organize more and more people to take part in that march with them the next time. So I'd say that's the most powerful thing y'all can do to support this right now.
Yeah, and I would just add, since we are going to be focusing a lot on, targeting and calling out specific billionaires who are causing these crises, that we're all feeling. We're hoping that this is going to be like a political education opportunity for people. And so, like Griffin said, like, come bring people, you will learn together, and then you can take that information back to your communities. You might learn something about how one of these billionaires is connected to something that's happening in your community, and you can launch a campaign or move forward, take other actions to keep this momentum going. So just, it's all part of continuing to build and strengthen this movement and increase our power collectively.
Sada, is there anything that you wanted to add to that? No pressure.
Well, I just wanted to say, raising your voice is different for people. So it can be going to the march, or it can be something like starting a petition, doing some art, whatever you feel comfortable with, but raise your voice, do something.
Excellent. Thank you all. Now, our next question. Are there rallies in other states? Someone also asked, are there rallies in SoCal? That information is going to be on the map. So make sure you visit. I'm going to pull up the banner for us again, makebillionairespay.us, and you'll be able to find the map of where all of the events are happening. And also, it'll link you over if you want to organize an event in your area. If there isn't already an event in your area, then it's time to put on your organizer hat. We're really excited to see so many people get energized and excited to bring this energy to their own communities. So make sure you take advantage of that opportunity and get connected within your community. All right. Let's see. Do y'all anticipate any issues as the administration sends troops to your area?
We live in scary fascist times, y'all. Like, there could very well be National Guard troops deployed to New York by the time of this march. And that's why it's so important that we have a really robust safety and marshaling team. So again, we're going to be working with really incredible professionals to help train people up to make sure that everyone is as safe as they can be at this march. And we're going to go out there and we're going to do what we're going to do. We're not going to call off the march because the National Guard might show up. We're going to go out there anyway.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, if you are coming to New York, we need people to volunteer to help be part of that big marshaling team to help keep everyone safe. So if you've done it before, if you haven't, there will be training provided, but that is another really great way to step into some leadership and to be, taking on some more collective movement work together to make sure that this is successful and that we can keep everyone safe. So definitely encourage folks to sign up to volunteer.
And we will be hosting some safety calls ahead of time as well. We want you to feel like you're going to be safe. We want you to feel prepared. So we do host safety trainings, and they are intensive ahead of these events. Make sure you watch your email because you'll get your invite there. All right. Bus question. Who do we contact regarding bus quest changes if the departing point selected by Rally Bus doesn't make sense to y'all as the local folks, or the bus is late, etc.? And how many people does each bus hold?
Yeah, great questions. So we are working with Rally. So Rally will be your point of contact. That's going to be the most streamlined way to get information. So if you have questions about the departing points, if you don't think that they make sense, let Rally know, and we can see. But I doubt that the existing ones that have already been scheduled will change. But let Rally know if that is a problem. And same with bus being late, all of that. When you get your tickets, you will get all of that information about how to contact them. In terms of how much each bus holds, so each bus holds 55 seats. So if you get 55 people, you've got a full bus. It will run with as few as 30. But of course, we want these buses to be filled. So 55 is the goal for each bus.
Great. Thank you so much. These logistical questions are so important. So keep asking them if you have them. All right. Now let's see. This one comes up in a lot of our mass calls. So I would love to hear a round robin of all of our panelists tonight. How can we keep ourselves from getting overwhelmed with all the madness going on? Taylor, that was a long, slow, deep breath on your part. Would you like to start?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think long, slow, deep breaths are definitely one thing. It's hard not to get overwhelmed. I feel like I get overwhelmed every day. So I think it's about trying, for me, focusing on having some specific organizing projects like this, some specific ways that we are taking action in our communities. Whether that's being involved in a local campaign, in your local, ice watch, cop watch, like whatever it is, however you can be stepping into to support and stand with your communities right now. Like that, taking action to me is like the most kind of like healing and grounding area. When I'm just on my phone doom scrolling, that's when the most overwhelm happens. And then also just like drinking lots of water. That's just generally one of my go-tos.
But you also look like you had a thought, and I may have jumped in before.
No, honestly, it's really hard. But I think you have to be purposeful about your joy. I think you have to be very intentional about doing things that bring happiness into your life, because with everything that's going on, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, and not only overwhelmed, but depressed. I mean, it's just so much, and it's purposeful, and we have to, and that's why we have to be purposeful as well, because they are doing this on purpose to overwhelm us, and so we have to purposely find joy in our lives. That's it.
Thanks. Griffin?
Yeah, I want to really uplift what was just said. I think for me, it's about diving into this work. And I think for y'all that can translate into like how many people can you organize to get in the streets on September 20th? And then two, I've been a big fan lately of like a very short, like 5 to 10 minute stress nap tends to mellow me out in a way that my body really needs.
This came up earlier in a different coalition meeting, and what I consistently come back to, because in my background, I worked in multiple sectors, from actual state government to nonprofit to campaigns and electoral work. And what I have found in all of this is that no one person is going to fix any major issue themselves. No one person can take on all of these issues. Our respective organizations tend to focus on specific areas of specialty. And that is so valid. And that is so important, because no one organization can do it all. No one person can do it all. There are an overwhelming number of things going on, and that is on purpose. The whole point is to overwhelm people, is to overload people, is to overstimulate to the point of desensitization and getting you to check out and be apathetic. So some of the most important pieces you can take from that are do what you have to do to survive. That means stepping back for yourself. That's important. You can't fight in the revolution if you can't fight. Fill your cup and then come back where you can. Focus on one issue that you care about and align yourself to the organizations in your area that are working on it. it's okay to focus on local issues, because the local is where things come down. So if you want to see this in your community, if you want to see this particular event in your community, focus in on your community. That's completely valid. That's what we have these sister marches for. So you can bring it to your community, so you can focus in locally. But at the end of the day, know that there is a place for everyone. There is a role for everyone. Some people work inside the system. Some people work outside the system to pressure the system. And each of these modalities is so incredibly valid, and you are an important part of that. So thank you for that question. Right. So much injustice. But does the campaign have a top 3 things they should be paying for?
The billionaires, yes. I think there's a lot of things billionaires need to pay for, y'all. I think for me personally, I don't want to speak for the entirety of the campaign, but for me, it looks like healthcare. There's so many people that just got kicked off Medicare. That's just not right. It is schools and education. I think that we need to be investing in schools and make college affordable for young people. And it's clean energy. It's a transition to a renewable economy, and it's climate adaptations that are going to defend our communities from the worst of the climate crisis. But I'm really curious at what Taylor and Sarah you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, as Griffin talked about at the beginning, so we have these 3 core demands, which are on the screen. So shut down billionaires, fund our future. And I think that gets into a lot of what Griffin was just talking about, like those basic things that we all need to survive and to live full healthy lives. Shut down fascists and protect migrants and the global majority. To me, that's a lot of, reversing a lot of things that have been happening, we've just the most recent federal budget bill that just put even like way more money into ICE and the deportation machine, taking that away, investing that in our communities, pathways to citizenship, making sure that people have the right to stay, the right to leave during climate crises and displacement. And then for shut down polluters, defend Mother Earth. Again, there's so much that goes up in here, but there's a lot of these make polluters pay bills where it's really holding the polluters accountable for the harms that they have created through the climate crisis, making sure that they are the ones footing the bills for all of these, all the extreme weather events, the harm that they cause our communities, and then all of the resilience infrastructure that has to get built as a result. And we are going to be updating the website regularly with some more like sub demands that fleshes this out more. But just to give some of an idea. But those are our 3 overarching demands. And there are, of course, lots of sub demands at the national level, but then also in your own community. How does it supply in your own community is something to think about.
All right. Now, let's see. How do we sign up for the safety and security trainings? We'll be sending out emails ahead of time, and those will be in the weeks leading up to September 20th. So watch your emails. Make sure you are signed up. We will be sending out a recap email as well to everybody who pre-registered to sign up. So if you happen to stumble across this, I'm going to drop the link so that you can also get registered. So we'll have your email address. I'm going to grab that for y'all really quick, and I'll drop it in the chat. All right. Now, in that same vein, it would be great if you can come up with some common sense things folks can read to protect themselves, especially when it comes to de-escalating and safety. That is a part of our safety trainings. And our safety trainings are also very realistic. A lot of people were circulating memes leading up to other marches and other events saying, oh, do a sit down wave. wildly dangerous. We never recommend that because there are going to be people, that means that people could be trampled. So when we do these safety trainings, and they're very important to attend, so we really hope that you'll participate in them with us. We're going to give you those common sense, the common sense things to do in situations. We're going to give you the real information that you're going to need to keep yourself safe, protected, and healthy during an event like this. If it happens to escalate, which with this training, we also make sure that we're not escalating. That is always the goal, is not to escalate. All right. Now, this is an interesting question, and I'm going to toss this over to Griffin Taylor Sarai. Are there any resources available for frontline community leaders to make the trip to NYC?
We have been fundraising very diligently, and it's a hard time to fundraise money, y'all. The rich people, turns out they don't want to fund the Make Billionaires Pay rally. The Koch brothers never responded to our request for funding. So we're working on a really limited budget. And we do not have resources at this time to help people travel to New York. What I would say is I'd love to get in touch with you, John, and hear more about like where you're coming from and see if we can figure out a carpool situation, and love to offer like my personal capacity to frontline folks to see if we can get folks up to New York. And I want to uplift and encourage frontline leaders to get in touch with leaders who are putting on rallies and marches close to them. And we're happy to help facilitate this to make sure that, you know, the important voices are uplifted at the local marches that happen outside of New York as well. Anything to add, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say if you haven't endorsed the march yet, you can do that on the website. And there is some more information about for frontline communities and there's some criteria in there, and there's an opportunity to get more connected to the frontline committee. That's part of this mobilization. So definitely encourage frontline folks to do that as a way to get more connected to the organizing, like Griffin described. And yeah, we can definitely work with folks, but we are operating with a really limited budget.
All right. Now we did have the question, will this video remain on YouTube for those who cannot make the session? Yes, it will be on YouTube starting tomorrow. What should the landing page be that we should share to get more people involved? Happy to share that again as well. That's going to be makebillionaireспay.us. Quick, easy, hopefully memorable. So again, makebillionaireспay.us. And that's going to have all the resources centralized, all the signups and everything you will need to find your way to New York or get started in your own community. And then we have another question. Do you have a list of talking points that we can use on a local level to energize people and get them tapped in?
You want to take that one, Griffin?
Yeah, our comms team is working on building out some more detailed demands and talking points. And when those are prepared and ready to go, we will be putting them on our website. If you are a local organization, there's also that is hosting a rally. You should have received a toolkit that has a ton of really helpful resources, including talking points. And if you need to get that again, feel free to get in touch with the organizers, and we will make sure that you get that again. And if anyone needs to get in touch, yeah, I'm curious, Risa, what's the best way for folks? Is there like an email that folks can send an email to follow up with questions directly?
Yeah, I think the best one to reach out to is going to be organizing@womensmarch.com. We can pop that in a banner too. Or actually, you know what? Better yet, we're going to do Sister March at womensmarch.com. Here we go. Yep. All right. And this way we know that it's for this event. So if you have questions, beyond tonight's presentation, feel free to email us there. All right, so I think that is all of it for questions tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I know that, this is your free time in the evening, and we are so grateful that you chose to spend your evening with us. Thank you, Griffin, Taylor, Sarai, and Khalil, for providing us robust information and giving us this grounding and context of why we are organizing in New York and across the country. Thanks again. Have a great evening. We'll see you all again soon.